Hello, I'm back again. And this is week 40. And this is where a lot of our service starts kicking in from that Facebook post I mentioned about last week. But this week was pretty good, honestly. A lot of interesting things happened, but it was pretty good. Let's get into it. So, Monday, obviously, so it wasn't P Day because we had Mission P Day, the Mission P Day social the Tuesday after, but it was pretty good. We had district council that day in Trenton and talked about getting people to church and all that, and we visited someone we were working with for a little bit, just try to figure things out and all that. And then we loaded our gear and we got a ride with Dyersburg, up to Dyersburg. And we went to their apartment, switched into our service clothes because we were going to do some service. And we helped this guy with his backyard, who apparently is a pastor. And he has church in his living room. It was pretty interesting. He knew a little about the church. Some stereotypical false stuff like having 30 lives and all this whatever crap, and we kind of helped answer some of the questions he had. It's pretty good. And then after we kind of went to somewhere else to do some more service, but with the tools that we were given from some other people, it was kind of a struggle because literally none of the tools worked and we didn't have sufficient tools for some of the other stuff, so it was honestly just a struggle bus, but it's fine. But then we just got Subway, just came back to the apartment, did some studies, and then we played Clue for the rest of the night, and I won like that game that night, and yeah, it was a solid win too. But then Tuesday came around. It was our Mission P Day. We also finished up playing the other game, Clue, that we had to stop at the night. We finished that, and I won again that game too. Whoops. Sorry, not sorry, but you know. Then we got a ride from a member down to Arlington for our mission social, and then we did a lot of games. Kind of like what we did that first mission social. If you guys kind of remember that, maybe you probably don't, but if you do, good for you. If you don't, that's okay though. We played croquet, kickball. I was a baller pitcher. Yeah, I was pitcher for our team. We're not supposed to be competitive, but if it was a competitive sense, we smoked them. But everyone was like a little surprised. It's like, we got a lefty pitcher, and it was like, yeah, it's cool, it's fun. Become a lefty. But we also played some volleyball and the walking on wood, like coordination. You're on, both of your feet are on two pieces of wood, and then you're trying to walk with coordination with other people behind you. I don't know what the actual name of it is, but it was just, and it's communistic. That's what it is. I just suck at it. That's what it really boils down to, but whatever. I also talked to y'all, of course. We also watched this movie called Legacy, and it was basically kind of like a little story about the pioneers, some part of the pioneers, their experience, And then our mission president kind of talked about, like, so what legacy are we gonna leave? Doesn't have to be for the mission, but just our life. Like, what legacy do we want for the people that we are working with or who we're around? What type of legacy do you want to have? And how are you going to achieve that? Or how are you going to show that? Just a passing thought. But then we drove back to Dyersburg from a member pickup. And then another member picked us up in Dyersburg and took us back to Humboldt, and we had Bible study at the Lime Bricks as usual. But that's about that day. Wednesday rolls around, and we got new tires on our car. My bad. But because they were balding like it was no one's business. And then we went to the church, and we got picked up by our eldest quorum president. We went to the very top corner of our area, a small little town called Trezvent, and there we met a less active member and had a discussion with him, helped clear things up for him. And then he took us, then our eldest quorum president took us to this little restaurant place, chow place. It was pretty good, actually. And then he took us back to the church, and we actually prepared for a church tour because a few people we were working with, Deshawn and her family, someone that we were working with that we found in Milan that first week. And actually what happened, my first church tour after 10 months, about 10 months since my first, 10 months of my mission, 10 months into my mission, I finally had the successful church tour. And it was pretty good. They loved it, especially the husband. He was like, wow, this is super cool. And then we had a member there because she got them a ride and all, and they stuck around for we actually had a start of our gospel principles class, gospel essentials class, and that was proposed by our Relief Society president, who was just awesome. She's great, but she came up to us and it's like, hey, I was thinking about this, and I actually got permission. Would you be able to do this? And we're like, yeah, we'd love to. And so we used the Gospel Principles book, which a lot of you know used to be the Sunday school lessons. But so we used that, and we had a lot of good we had like 15 people there. It was pretty good of a turnout. And when it was over, I was talking with Sam, which is Lori's husband, if you guys remember from the past couple weeks. He pulls me aside. He's like, because this past couple weeks we've been trying to work with him. Like, at this point of the time, we've been trying to get him on day for something, and it was kind of rough, but we were thinking we were making some progress. And then he pulls me aside because Elder Hunter was talking to someone else. He's like, hey, Houghton, come here. And I'm like, okay. He's like, so I'm thinking about June 8th, and my sister's going to be flying in that I've barely even known, and she's willing to come in that day. So I'm thinking about June 8th, and it was like, okay, Elder Hunter, what? Get over here. And then he's like, and then I was like, so he's thinking about June 8th, and he's like, oh, sweet, okay. And so he's on date, and it was great. And also, that was also my dad's birthday, May 15th. And yeah, it was his birthday, so I got to call him and just have a good conversation with him. So that was pretty nice to be able to call. It was a funny call, but it was good to talk with him. Then Thursday rolls around. There was a lot of service. Though I'm going to be right back. I gotta get a drink. I'm back. I had to get a drink. My throat's a little bothering. It's not that I'm sick, it's just a long day. But Thursday, we did a lot of service, as I said. We went to this town called Three-Way, which is like kind of southeast-ish, I think. Not too far, but we helped this lady she had a lot of rocks in her bed, in her flower beds, because it's like, as she described it, it's like it was like a good idea at first, it was like it was supposed to look cool, but then you're in the South, it's gonna rain like it's no one's business, and you're gonna lose a lot of rocks into the ground, and that's what happened. And we pulled out like a crap ton of rocks and put it into her like little ditch thing that they have, which I don't understand, because you can like literally, if you're not careful, you're gonna drive right into a ditch. The roads down here are quite interesting, but and it was pretty good, except it was pretty good service, except for the fact that it was like the hottest part of the day, and we were both just like both just drenched in sweat. Oh, excuse me. We afterwards we had some time, and we just contacted a couple people real quick, and then we drove to Medina, and we helped this one person clean out their shed and pick up a couple limbs and all that. And we were, during the time while we were cleaning out the shed, a group of kids who apparently a lot of kids stay there or whatever. I don't know what the whole deal is, but a lot of kids come out, and they're like, because they found out that we were from like we were like missionaries from a church and all. And they come out to like, so what church are y'all from? And it talks about, we're just saying we're the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We're just, our location's in Humble, but yet we're worldwide. And one of the kids is like, oh, I did scouts with them for a little bit. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. We're gonna end up talking to him about it, but everyone just kind of like filed it out. But it was pretty interesting just seeing a bunch of kids come into the shed as we're both cleaning. We're like, eh. But it was pretty interesting. They're nice kids. They're pretty decent kids. But and also during the time while we cleaned the shed, and I'm scratching myself. I still have the scar today. It's right. I don't know if you can see. It's like right there. I scratched myself while cleaning out the shed. I was like, and then the thought came to me, man, I keep getting all these battle scars, as I call them. It's like, I'm gonna look like I just got in fights with all these scars I'm getting. Like, getting the scars here and all, scar here. What's next? Scar here. Well, actually, I kind of have one from the bike incident too, but it was whatever. Then we just came home, showered, and then we got back into our service clothes because we went to a member's house. His name is the Fishers, and super funny family. And we had dinner with them, and we burned a couple things too, so that was fun. Friday was service filled too. We got picked up by a member, helped him out for a little bit, and he took us out to eat at this little like sandwich joint and all that. That's a pretty cool place. Then we did some weekly planning and for a little bit, and then we drove up to this town called Gibson, which is like on the way to Milan, and we helped this lady out like clean up her dad's barn, whatever's left of it, because they tore it down and all. Man, my throat's not getting clear. We just helped her out. They have a lot of land too. It was super cool. And a lake. I was like, man, did some cool things, but they really appreciate it. And they're like, "Are you sure you guys can't take any money?" It's like, "Yeah, we're sure." It's like, and the lady who originally reached out, she's like, "Do y'all like fishing?" The first thing that pops into my head is like, "Oh no, this is gonna be interesting." And I was like, "Yeah, we like fishing." And she's like, "You want a fishing pole?" I was like, and she talks about how her dad has like did a lot of fishing. And just like, it's like, "Are you sure?" He's like, she's like, "Follow me," and I'm just like, "Oh my goodness!" Like, I think I know where this is going. We find this little shed, like decent sized shed. It wasn't like mega huge, but it wasn't mega small. It was a decent size for like fishing materials and all that. And she opens the door. We walk in. It is full of fishing poles. It's just like, take whatever pole you want. You both want. And I'm like, "Are you sure?" And she's like, "Yeah." He's not gonna use them anymore because he's in the veterans hospital. And I was like, "Oh, okay." So we take these two poles right here. That big one, the biggest one right there is the one I took. It's a big catfish pole. We're gonna leave it here, and the hunter has a small little one and all. They're both like really good poles and all. We're gonna leave him here in Trenton, just so like people when they coming through, when missionaries they swapping out, they have like a fishing pole if they ever go fishing. And so that was funny. We were supposed to have more service in Milan, but it fell through as well. But we were still around in Milan. We stuck around in Milan, talked to a couple people, and then we just came back to Humboldt and walked around a little more and just ended the day there. Saturday, we were supposed to do service for someone else in Trenton, but that fell through. But then some other service came up with a member, so we drove it back down to Humboldt, helped her plant like a couple trees, and got to know her a little more because we didn't know much about her. It was a pretty good conversation. And then we switched into our pros clothes and drove to Milan and had a super cool lesson with some of the other people that we found during that first week. They had a lot of questions. It was pretty good family. Super. They the one, her name is Mary. She's like our top candidate, one of the top candidates in that family right now. She's read the Book of Mormon before, and she's recognized the peace it brings. And then she found out stuff, and then we came back and started talking with her more. And she's like, "I know the Book of Mormon brought me a lot of peace," and all. It's like, yes, that's what we need to hear. And yeah, and then we, luckily, since we were still in Milan, we helped out some members move some bedding up to the upstairs because they were moving their daughter up to the upstairs just because of like room preparation and all. And they fed us as well, and they took us to Bartlett for state conference because we had state conference that night. It was really good meetings and all, and we got ice cream after and all, and then we didn't leave till like 9, and it's a 2-hour drive back up to Milan, and then a drive back down to Humboldt. So we didn't go to bed till like 11:30 at night, which is the latest I have ever stayed up in my mission for like 10 months. Literally, just basically 10 months, and the latest I've stayed up was 11:30, and that sucked. But yeah, that happened. But Sunday rolls around. Luckily, we didn't go to Bartlett. We stuck around for state conference live streaming at the church. We had 3 people at church that came though. It was super good. Afterwards, we were talking with Lori, and she's like, I'm healed up enough, and I want to be baptized on the 8th too. And so like, let's do it. And so she's on date now too. And we're like, awesome. Yay. That's what we need. And after lunch, Elder Hunter did some call-ins because of us getting home late. And then we drove to Milan, and we had some failed attempts of contacts, except for Mary, who was out grilling, I believe. And we had an awesome discussion with her. She's wanting to try to get to some of her family members and listening too. And I was like, this is incredible. Wow. and she's super solid, honestly. And during the time while we were walking around as well, just kind of off topic, but like during that time, we were walking past this church. We were walking over, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, and I turn around and a guy walks out. He's like, are you missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? And I just sat there. I was like, someone said the full name of the church. Wow. That's what? Because no one ever does that. It's either Church of the Latter-day Saints or Latter-day Saints or the Mormon Church. But someone said the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And we talked to this guy a little bit, and he's like, his dad's like a pastor or something, and him and his brother are ministers for it. And it was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And we had some nice conversation, but he's like, yeah, I just wanted to meet you guys a little bit. It's like, awesome, nice to meet you, and whatever. And it's the little things that really matter. And I've noticed that a lot. And that's super cool. But then after we had dinner at a member's, had the Bible study in Milan, and had Collins with his own leaders, it just ended today. But yeah, it's been a week, but you know, it's been pretty good, and I'm excited for what's to come next. So yeah, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.